and welcome to the Actual Studio Lounge. Today is a really important day because we want to talk about something that our community does not deal with on a regular basis, but needs to, and that's our mental and emotional intelligence, or our mental health. You know, you hear people talk about wellness all the time, but we really want to talk about emotional intelligence. And that's a new word that's on the platform because as an actor or a creative person or anyone who's in the spotlight, you really want to have a real clear sense and be self-aware so that you can protect yourself from being caught up in all the noise that's happening around you. And at Actual Studio, I'm so incredibly happy and excited and blessed to bring you this woman, DottieLou, the OG authentic person, to help you get the mental clarity and to shift your mindset to where you need it to be. How you doing, Dottie?
I'm doing good today. Yes. How are you?
I'm excellent. So could you tell the audience a little bit about what you do?
So what I do is I teach a therapy. It's called DBT Therapy, which is goes down to Dialectical Behavioral Therapy. And so what that is that we retrain the brain. Um, when someone goes through traumatic life experiences or has grown up in just a horrible environment or has emotional trauma, um, what we call our neurotransmitters in our brain break and they don't communicate properly. So emotional trauma comes out of a person in reaction. So it's how we react to things, anything in our environment. Emotional comes out when we can't handle situations. We are emotionally dysregulated. But this therapy teaches us, and we can retrain the brain because we have these neurotransmitters in our brain that are our thoughts. Neurotransmitters communicate to each other, which are our thoughts. But through trauma in our life, our neurotransmitters don't communicate properly. They're kind of broken and they miscommunicate. And so we freak out on things and we get very emotional. We cry, depression, anxiety, self-harm. All those things stem from our emotional trauma in our life. But through DBT, we can retrain the neurotransmitters and reconnect them so we can live a life worth living effectively. And it's an awesome, 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 awesome program.
I'm really excited to have it be a part of Actual Studios curriculum. So give me a little more insight on how it works, like the basics of how you actually do this course.
Okay, so it's practice makes permanent. So what we do is we teach you a skill. Every week we teach you a skill and you go home and you practice that skill that week. And so there's 4 modules to this therapy. And the very first one, which is a very core module, is mindfulness. And that's living in the current moment, living present. We tend to time travel. Our minds tend to time travel a lot. We either live too much in the future, which creates anxiety because we just don't know what's coming up and what's happening. And we live in a lot of high anxiety when we think too much about the future. And then when we go live too much in the past, that causes depression because we're just depressed and sad and upset, things that have happened to us, things people have hurt us, said things to us. It's just, so when we live in the past, it's depression. When we live too much in the future, it's anxiety. So mindfulness is a very core skill because it teaches us how to live right here and what we're dealing with right here. So I love mindfulness.
I'm one of those time travelers, right?
Yes.
You know me.
Yes.
I'm gone. I'm sitting with you and I've got 10 other things I'm thinking about. I think also as parents, as CEOs, we all have a lot of different things that we have to juggle at once. So It doesn't, sometimes it feels counterintuitive or counterproductive to want to be in the moment when you have to be prepared for the next moment and the next, like a firefighter or something that you have to think ahead.
Right.
So what techniques can I use, or do you teach? Just a couple that help me to do that. Because auditioning, for example, I bring this up because that's what we do. A lot of us creators, we go for a job interview, you're up for a gig, or you're up for a hosting job, and you're in a room full of people and the anxiety is real.
What that's called is rumination. So what happens is that we have a thought, like we worry about something, right? And then another thought comes in, and another thought. And so just all these things start coming in, and our mind is just going around all these things that are in front of us that we need to do or need to handle or whatever, right? And so there's a skill that we call the stop button. So when you realize, so we pay attention, when you realize you're in that spin, you actually push the stop button. You say it out loud, whatever you need to do, put your hand out, whatever you need to do to cause yourself to say stop, right? And then you take a deep breath, and we have mindfulness exercises to bring you back to this current moment. And then what we teach our students is that, yes, all this stuff is out there, and all that stuff is going on, and all that stuff you're going to have to deal with. But you don't have to deal with it right now. Right now, what you have to deal with is what's right in front of you. Just what is this right here? What's the next step? We teach them how to take baby steps. So when you go into that state of rumination, and and your heart's beating fast, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, you push the stop button, you use your mindfulness skill, come back to the present moment, and just focus on right here.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Feel like the stop button is like the easy button, you know. And impact a few different buttons by the time we're done with the course. That, if it's easy, push this. That's a thought process you take. If it's difficult, push the stop, and then this is what you say. So let's talk about our mindset and the mental, the mental clarity that has to happen with what we say and how we say it to ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, there is a component of how we treat ourselves, right? Because even when I went through this, I didn't realize how much negative self-talk I have, like how much I hated myself. I would call myself stupid all the time, or I would say you're an idiot, or what'd you do that for? And this is all conversation inside my head, right? And it's stuff we say to ourselves that we wouldn't even say to another person, right? And so we learn how to stop that, to our negative self-talk, and start. We learn loving kindness towards ourselves. We give loving kindness to others. Ourselves, we deserve loving kindness as well. And so we learn how to do that to ourselves.
There's some level of that. I battle with that often. We talk about the mental games that we play in our head, like, man, call myself like, man, that was a dumbass move. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, what an idiot. Can't believe I did. I said I would never want to hang out with me.
Right.
I would not to hang out with me. If what I said to myself was something somebody would say on a regular basis. Right. And why do we put up with this? Why do we even do it? But I know there's some level of perfectionism and fear that if I don't beat myself up,
yes,
then it won't be perfect, because you don't see what I see about myself.
Right.
And that's
yes.
Right.
I'm just excited. I'm so excited because you're bringing up such great points. So there's also a piece in this that we teach. So a lot of us are perfectionists, and that's why we have so much stress and anxiety, because things aren't the way we think they should be. So there's a component in here that teaches us how to be a high achiever instead of a perfectionist. So we let go of that perfectionism, because we learn how to be just a high achiever, and it's so much more comfortable, and it's such an easier place to live. I was a perfectionist. And that brings a lot of anxiety, because things aren't like, and so when you learn just to be a high achiever, it's a more comfortable place to live in. And so that's also a part of the DBT therapy.
And that's something that, when you get to know DottieLou more and taking the course at Act Real and work with her, you'll find out her story that she worked with high achievers. You were in the mecca of what people want. The highest, famous, most influential people were around you, your friends, you work with them, and talk about the anxiety of that life. because people a lot of times chase fame, and that's why I really want this course, is because fame is fleeting, and anytime you're constantly looking for that outward validation, we're gonna lose. And I know that people think that they want to be famous, but they wouldn't even be prepared for it if they got it. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how DBT could help us?
I'm okay. So one of the other modules that we teach is interpersonal relationship skills, I guess.
Real quick before you go there, some of the crazy things you've seen just by being, a little bit of your Hollywood side when you were out traveling, working with the musicians and stuff.
I'm sorry, I guess I don't understand the question.
We were having a conversation and you were saying how you were not really into the life you were at because you were at the events, you were at the pinnacle of where everybody was supposed to want to be, and you found yourself completely empty.
Yes, I did not like it. So my ex-husband was a musician, right? And so he was in this rock band and he was the lead guitarist. And so I was that loving, supporting wife. And every weekend we just had to go. Every weekend was a party. And I just got like, it was empty because it was so fake. Like you go into that environment and everybody's, all happy and, oh, I love you and this and that, and you're my best friend. But as soon as you walk out the door and everybody gets sober, they wouldn't give you the time of day, So it was a very lonely place, to be. But yeah, I ended up, my marriage fell apart and I ended up having an emotional breakdown. And I was a professional woman, very successful. And that's how I found DBT therapy was after all that took place. DBT brought me back to life. And here I am today to help others come back to life. And actually live a life worth living effectively. Like we can live a life worth living, but is it effective,
and who are affecting by the life that we're living.
Right.
A lot of people hear, oh, do what makes you feel good, as long as it doesn't hurt me.
Right.
I can do whatever I want. But when you're part of a community and you have people who actually care about you, everything you do affects them. And like I said, Hollywood is super fake. Hollywood being wherever you are in an industry, be it a corporate industry environment or entertainment environment, there's always hierarchy, right? There's always politics. So you're always loved when you're on top.
Right. So, and as an example, so after my 17-year marriage fell apart and I wasn't on top anymore and I fell, all those women that said they loved me as my sister were not there. So it was like my whole 17 years of my life was fake. Like there was nobody there for me.
I feel like when you're caught up in the bubble, I call it, that bubble seems to be reality, and you're, they're just still feeding you all the hot air to keep the bubble. They're doing that more for their own benefit than for you. That's why when you get to the point when you really need the support, they're not there. Even for me on this new build, that's why I love Act Real. That's why I called it Act Real Studio, because you're still in reality of your life. And you are identified and you are the closest people to you. And if those closest people to you are dysfunction junction, you're not going to be able to go be Captain Save that person. That. So if you want to do better, you got to be better and you got to be better. And DBT is something that will help give you the tools to make you be able to better deal with all these different
your environment, and the things that come at you, because humans are difficult. Human beings are difficult all over the place, right? And you have to deal with them on a daily basis. So the interpersonal relationship skills we teach you how to deal with all different kinds of people. It's like a garden, right? So with our friendships, you plant new ones, right? You nourish the good ones and you pull the weeds and you get rid of the ones that are no good, you know? And so, yeah. And so it's like a friendship garden, you know, and you always have to be planting new, right? Because you're pulling weeds too. You're getting rid of the stuff that doesn't, like, how does it serve you? How does that relationship serve you? Does it, or does it just drain you? You know, I mean, these, the interpersonal relationship skills, are really key. It's one of the core skills as well.
And you want to know one thing that you do so well that we're going to add to the course, and I haven't even told you this part yet. But I'm revealing it right here, right now, hot off the presses, that I want you, as part of this course, to do for others what you and I do together, what you do for all your friends that you love.
Mm.
I want you to teach them how to do those things.
Yes.
So Dottie is incredibly talented photographer, and she sends life-giving quotes, life-giving affirmations, life-affirming friendship nuggets that give you a source of comfort and courage and confidence. And she does that organically. And I think it's such a great therapy, the way you do it, that I give that gift to all of the students, because it'll be something that'll be lifelong for them.
Yes.
It'll be so much more valuable to the person that they give it to, because of the way that it was crafted and created.
Mm-hmm.
So this course is more than just, talking about it. We really want you to live a life of influence.
Yes.
Really a life of abundance.
Yes.
And prosperity, but really authentic happiness, right? We always say, people say, what's your why? I don't know what my why is. I don't know why, because I need to pay a bill, because I want to be on television, because I think it'll be fun, because I want to be on a magazine cover. Like, what's your why? Because if it's for those things will go away. And in Hollywood, unfortunately, there is something that's ageism, right?
Yes.
You cannot play or portray certain things after a certain period of time. So that beautiful flower is going to fade and wither and die. And another beautiful flower is going to come. And the lifespan of the flowers depends upon their own organic continents, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
If you're birds of paradise, or if you're one of those dandelion. Dandelion is stunning. And then it's gone.
Yes.
That stem that's left is where roots are, and the value is, where you actually can't just walk in because you're pretty to book that job. You actually have to act real.
Yes.
Bring yourself to the table.
Yes.
And there's a place for this. So when you're, and that's what we do. We kind of give you a roadmap of milestones that you can look back at and be excited about, because you have to give yourself little wins along the way, or you'll never make it, because it's a marathon, right? Your whole life is an act that you're going to keep, reappearing.
Right.
And stage is always going to be set. The table's going to have new guests, right? So every time you go into a new situation, it's new guest at the table, new person at the doorkeeper, the gatekeeper.
Right.
So constantly going to be coming into gatekeepers. And if I'm having a bad day, or something just went down that you didn't know about, I can kind of transfer that energy to you. And could you talk about how we can manage not taking on other people's, negative energy or headspace to ourselves, and what we can do to shake it off and keep going? Because, you'll carry, like we talked about earlier, the trauma, the childhood trauma. So many people our age, younger, going through life, and they have something that they got stuck in that they never got over, that
Right.
was childhood and trauma. And we want to teach kids, we want to teach the parents and the children better skills so that you don't do that. You don't do that to yourself, and you don't do that to your babies. You do
Yeah.
not scar them for life and have something that they have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars in therapy over.
Right.
Get fixed. We want to fix it now, and we want to be
Right.
aware of what we're doing that can cause a trauma so that we don't do it. Because I know every parent, every coach, teacher, CEO, boss, they don't want to go and have a culture that's toxic. We don't want to offend people because we're a little bit less flowery in the way we present things, you know,
Right.
might be a little bit more of a straight shooter.
Right. And that's all part of interpersonal relationship skills and how to interact with people effectively, even difficult people, right? And that it also includes boundaries on when to, when to draw those boundaries and when to realize that that relationship or that interaction with that person is not being effective, and that it needs to be cut because it's just not, instead of trying to force it to make it work, check the facts. And we have little games that we play in therapy. So we have a thing called a dime game, and that's, so you play this dime game, and it's how strong you either say yes to something or you say no to something, or how strongly you ask for something, right? And so we play this dime game, and you ask yourself these questions, and how much money you have at the end of the game determines how strongly you're going to ask or say no. It's actually fun. So we have little things like that we teach. And again, um, this therapy is, you have to participate. You can't just come and take the lesson and say okay, and then go along your week, and then come back the next week and you haven't even used the skill. If you don't use the skills, they're not going to work for you. But so it's really, you have to participate. But it's fun because you see yourself growing and learning, and you're like, wow, that was so cool, I did it. It's fun. And then when you come back to class and you share, there's such great validation and encouragement there for you to just like keep going. And it's just, I love it. I love watching my students just come back. They come into class and they're depressed or have anxiety and they're sad, and they're just torn down by life. But as the weeks go on, their face and their eyes start to lighten up, and then within weeks they're coming to class smiling, and it's so that's why I do this. That's why I do this. Yes. I don't
That's
know
what
if that's what did you wanted to hear, but that's where I
I
went.
I feel it. And so with everyone, that's why I want, and I'm so grateful you're doing it with us,
Mm.
and this, we want people to experience it. So if you haven't experienced this type of emotional intelligence, I call it, because
Mhm.
that's really what it is. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it, but
Yes.
PT to me seems the most comprehensive.
Yes. And so what DBT does is, so back in the day when you suffer from anxiety, depression, whatnot, they give you antidepressants. All right, take your antidepressants and go live your life, right? You're done. You're going to be on antidepressants all your life. But what DBT does is that we retrain the brain so you can get off your meds, and you can actually, we just fix the brain. You can fix it now. And so you don't have to be on meds all your life. You might need to be on meds at the very beginning to get regulated, but then once you start using your skills and you use this, you can heal the brain. That's the amazing thing that I take away, is that you can now heal your brain. When I first went in, looking for this therapy, there's like a year and a half to 2 year waiting list in the mental health system to get into this program.
What?
Um, I had to wait almost 8 months to get into myself. And that's why I took it upon myself to take it outside of the mental health system and teach it, because people need this. People need this. They actually teach it in Europe in the elementary schools. They teach this therapy. That's how important it is to function in life. It's mindfulness, interpersonal relationship skills, emotional regulation skills, and distress tolerance skills. So those are the core skills to live a life worth living effectively, because we can live a life, but is it effective, and is it serving you? How much are you caught up in your head? There's so many people that suffer from insomnia because they can't stop the rumination. They just can't stop the thoughts from coming, and they just come and come, and they just lay in bed with their eyes open like, what do I do with all of this? Well, this gives us skills that we can stop that stuff.
Yeah, because I'm up to 3 a.m, and a lot of times it's not even negative, right? It's like,
it's just stuff.
Like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get to do this, and we're gonna do this, and this is gonna happen, and what if that doesn't happen? Let me figure that out. And I know in my brain, I use all those thoughts to kind of work it out,
right.
But it keeps me anxious.
Yes.
It keeps me running. I feel like I'm constantly running in my head.
Yes. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. You want to turn off the faucet.
Yes, it's exhausting.
Water.
Yeah, and I just haven't been able to get
the slow
long enough. I haven't been able to get you to sit still long enough.
Good luck with that one. I know. But you see why now. Now you see why I couldn't sit still. It's like actual studio is a passion of mine. Like, I've been wanting to get this in for a long time. People who know me know I've been wanting to teach, but it wasn't about me. And that's what was so hard. It's like, it's not about me. It's about community. It's about all of us and all the things that I wish that I knew or felt safe, I think, to talk about. Because I've been in classes. I've been in different courses, speaking courses or acting classes or improv classes, anything. And it's like I would go in there and I felt like I walked into a therapy class. I'm like, dude, I didn't come here for therapy. I came here to learn, like, read these lines and a couple of techniques. And now I'm sitting here watching somebody like have mental breakdowns on set to read a stupid couple of lines. Like, that to me was, I want to say a word, and you know what I want to say. That was messed up. I said, that is so all kind of wrong. That is manipulation. That's BS. And that's some nefarious crap that I'm not even gonna remotely be a part of. What kind of person does that to people and tell me that that's art and that's helping me? There's about that, where that person's getting over on you because they want to know what's in your head for some sadistic pleasure. And then people who take advantage of people that way. That's not happening at Actual Studio. Our motives are nowhere near that. And I don't think you have to put people on blast to get them to come to a real place. I don't think I need to go and be beaten down for you to dissect me in front of the class for me to understand empathy. Me to understand what it felt like to be a crack addict.
Right.
I didn't have to go and tell you that whatever happened in my past to bring me to a crack addict status. Because that's one part. Then I got to leave that audition and I got to go play an attorney.
Right.
It broke me down in class, but that was that one part. What about my commercial auditions where I'm selling soap? And out if I'm playing, volleyball at the beach? I need a good mindset. I don't need to go to class and be beat up every week.
Amen. Yes.
That's why there's a place for everything, and everything place, and understanding a safe place to actually come and do that.
Yeah.
It's going to help you with a clinical person who has the backing, has the track record, the mental prowess, the credentials, and the history to actually have what they say matter to me, and that I feel comfortable in accepting that and take it. Like, I'm going to talk to you about the things I know. I like to stay in my lane, but I'm not in every lane, right? Even though I've done everything, I've done so many things, but I'm not expert in everything, but I know more than you.
Mm.
And that's all you need to know. And I know more than you. And that's what you need to get at Actual Studio. We on the lounge, on the chair, every week, listening in to you. You know how many people are going to follow this podcast, Dottie?
Mm.
How many people are just, I can just imagine at night. We got to figure out when it's going to air, but at night, hearing conversations. I feel like this is something about a call in too, don't you? I feel like my heart is telling me people are going to want to call in. They're going to want to share a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to give them some guidance.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like we discussed, this isn't like a one-on-one class. This is kind of a group class, fly on the wall situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to go to AA.
Right.
But
right.
I have the AA experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that far off, but I don't
Right.
want to get that far off.
Right. I get what you're saying.
And that's why I wanted this, because I don't want you to have to go off the rails or be in the gutter or at your point in life to be able to get ask for help, to get a skill set that's everybody needs and not needed from a place of lack, but of empowerment, a place of confidence, and a place of knowledge, because we want to give you the gift of knowledge. And knowledge is insight and tools that'll help you be better at being you, right? Just a better you.
Mm-hmm.
Like
better yes. Build a better you.
brand of influence, and you're your brand. I love you.
I love you too.
It's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. I feel really good. Yes, I feel really good. I just, this world just needs something different. This world needs something different. This is the way things are going, and just these children, they're so cut off. Like they're so just, we need skills. We need skills.
And it's not their fault. Technology.
No, it's not.
Everything. And imagine what tech is now and what it's going to be in 5 years. So we have to teach kids emotional intelligence and integrity and therapy of how to navigate personalities and situations and pivot. You have to constantly want to learn and grow, or you're going to be left behind. And you can't get so stuck to think, oh, I don't do that. Like, I don't want to go on TikTok. Yeah, I don't want to be on camera. Period. Like, I'm a casting director, producer, executive producer, creator on purpose. I did that part. And I realized, I don't want that bad enough. But I want to give it to the people who do.
Right.
Decided it's better for me to be in that situation, not because I can't, because I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing it because I can, not because I can't. And that's a place of power. And that's what we want to share. We want to give you all a place of power. And entertainment and the creative arts is a business, but it's a business that is built on your brand. And learning more about building a brand of influence and how to act real right now is excellent. So you got to tune in, listen in, go to actualstudio.com, sign up, get in touch with us, subscribe to the podcast so that you can get all these valuable insights and knowledge that's going to help you win, no matter what.
Yes, but can I leave you with one thing?
Please.
Okay. Number one, DBT rocks. I love my DBT, and so will you. But I'm going to leave you with this. Some are controlled by the internal narrative that supports their reality, regardless of the truth. Navigating emotional chaos and providing an audience where there is no rational resolution is not a wise use of your time or energy. Control what you can, and that is you.
Control what you can, and that is you.
That is you.
That's so true.
Yes.
We're done.
Yes.
Till the next time. I can't wait to get you in the studio and get this started for real, no matter what. And
are we off? We're off.
Of course, has so much to it they'll be able to go and see all the different videos and touch points on things that are going to help them, and being able to have this on a regular basis where they can come to the studio and listen in to the lounge
Yes.
about this. It'll be game changing, I think, to the community as a whole. And I'm hoping that people it'll resonate with their spirits, and they'll at least give it a shot. And that intensive day that we're going to do leading up to our big event, I think we'll have students with us for life, because it's a life skill that you want to improve and grow and build.
It's never ending. It's never ending. So this is a therapy where most therapies, you go to a therapist and you talk about your problems, and you talk about your problems, and you talk about your problems. This is a therapy that you learn skills to deal with your problems.
And so, problems.
Yes.
We'll put that magazine stand out of business. I always say, I've got a lot of issues. Go to the magazine stand. You can see all my issues just lined up.
Yeah.
With DBT, you just start taking off. Oh, that one's discontinued. Oh, we don't do that magazine anymore. Oh, no, that one's gone. Oh, that procrastination one, that's gone. Oh, self-doubt, been discontinued.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Getting at it.
Yes.
Love you.
All right. Love you. Talk to you soon. Let's do that walk one of these days, yeah?
Done. Yeah, for sure.
After you get done with all of this stuff, then let's connect, yeah?
Yes, 100.
Okay.
I love you. Talk to you soon.
Okay.